Have you ever stopped to think that the smallest habits you ignore today might be making others uncomfortable? Are there things about you that people notice, but no one dares to say out loud? What if those unnoticed habits are quietly shaping the way others see you, more than you realize? As we grow older, it's easy to miss certain behaviors or subtle changes in ourselves. Yet, those around us often spot them right away. The reality is, these seemingly minor things can leave a much bigger impression than we intend. Sometimes they speak louder than words and linger in people's minds. In this video, we're going to dive into 5 surprising and, yes, ugly things that seniors may unknowingly do in old age. The very things everyone notices but nobody talks about. But don't worry, this isn't meant to make you feel bad or embarrassed. Instead, it's about helping you take a fresh look at yourself so you can make simple, positive changes that boost your self-confidence and help you feel proud of how you present yourself every day. Stick with us until the end, because the insights in this video might completely change the way you see yourself and could even strengthen your relationships with those who matter most to you. Let's begin with the first one, ignoring personal grooming. This is one of the most noticeable things people observe as you age, even though they may never say a word. It starts subtly. Maybe you forget to trim your nails, or your hair grows a bit too long between cuts. You might miss a spot while shaving, or leave behind a trace of food on your face without realizing it. As your body changes with age, it often becomes harder to notice when you need a little freshening up. But here's the thing. These tiny oversights gradually build up in the eyes of others. People may start to quietly question whether you're still paying attention to your personal care. Taking pride in your appearance sends a message louder than words. Even if deep down you still care just as much as you always have, others may quietly pick up on signs that suggest otherwise. It could be something as simple as a shirt collar left unbuttoned all day, or shoes that look worn out and forgotten. These little things can make people wonder if you're truly doing okay, though they remain polite and avoid saying anything directly. Personal grooming matters far more than many people realize, because it silently communicates how you feel inside. When you take just a few extra minutes each day to freshen up and present yourself neatly, it's not just about looking good, it's about showing respect for yourself and for those around you. And believe me, that kind of self-respect never goes unnoticed. People, whether they're your family, friends, or even strangers, naturally feel more comfortable, even uplifted, around someone who appears to care about the little details. It creates an atmosphere of positivity and warmth. I remember a man named Frank, who was in his early 70s. Frank had always been meticulous about his appearance. He was sharp, confident, and well put together. But after a serious health scare, he began to slip. He started neglecting his grooming, missing the small parts of his routine that once seemed effortless. His neighbors noticed the change, but out of kindness, no one wanted to mention it. Eventually, Frank became aware of what he had been overlooking. When he finally took time to groom himself again, he was amazed at how people reacted. He said it felt like everyone around him treated him with more kindness, warmth, and even admiration, simply because he had paid attention to those little things again. It wasn't about trying to look younger or being vain. It was about honoring himself and showing the world that he still cared about who he was. Those small efforts spoke volumes in ways we often don't expect. Number 2 is something many people notice, even if they don't mention it. Complaining too often. It's one of those quiet habits that can easily slip into your daily conversations, sometimes without you even realizing it. It usually starts small, so small that it barely catches your attention. Maybe it begins with just a casual remark, a quick comment about how the mail arrived later than expected, or how the clerk at the store didn't seem as friendly as they once were. Perhaps it's a little grumble about the aches and pains that, let's be honest, many of us start to feel more often as we get older. It all feels harmless at first, but here's where it becomes tricky. Before you even realize it, those little remarks start adding up. They begin forming a pattern, one that quietly stands out to the people around you, even if they never say a word. The challenging part is that most people aren't even fully aware of how much your words are affecting their feelings when they're near you. Yet, deep down, they start to connect your presence with a sense of negativity or heaviness. And let's face it, none of us wants that. People naturally feel drawn to those who lift them up, those who help them see the brighter side of life and feel good about themselves and the world around them. It doesn't mean you need to pretend everything is perfect all the time. Not at all. But there's a huge difference between sharing honestly about life's struggles and falling into a habit of constant complaining. What often happens in these cases is that people stop seeing the warm, wise, and caring person you truly are. Instead, their minds become clouded by the steady stream of negative words. And the hardest part? These people care about you deeply. They simply don't know how to bring it up without hurting your feelings. So, they stay quiet. They nod politely, maybe even force a smile, or gently steer the conversation elsewhere. But inside, they start to feel drained, a little more with each visit. I'm reminded of a man named Harold, someone I knew years ago. Harold was 80, a man with a heart of gold and a brilliant mind. He was sharp, witty, and deeply respected in his community, but after his beloved wife passed away, his outlook on life shifted. He began seeing the world through a gloomier, more negative lens. His friends adored him and cared for him deeply, but gradually, they started visiting less often. It wasn't because they stopped loving him, it was simply because every conversation seemed to circle back to complaints and sadness. The conversations with Harold gradually became centered around everything that was going wrong. At first, Harold didn't notice this shift. In his mind, he was simply sharing his daily life, being honest about the little frustrations that naturally came up. He thought he was just speaking from the heart, unaware of the growing pattern. But then, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, during a family visit, his young granddaughter gently pointed out something that struck a chord. She told him that whenever he talked about happy memories or shared positive stories, everyone around him seemed to lean in, their faces lighting up with smiles. That small but heartfelt observation opened Harold's eyes. From that moment on, he decided not to hide his emotions, but instead to create more balance in the way he expressed them. He made a conscious effort to share not just the hard moments, but also the joys, the gratitude, and the memories that made life beautiful. And wouldn't you know it? Everything began to change. His visitors started lingering longer, their laughter filling the room more often. They left feeling lighter, happier, and more connected, all because Harold had shifted the focus of his conversations. There's a deeply powerful lesson hidden in this story. The words we use, especially as we grow older, don't just shape how others see us. They also influence how we see ourselves. When we take the time to focus on what's still good in life, when we make space for kindness, gratitude, or even a small moment of joy, that energy becomes contagious. People sense it, and they naturally want to stay near it. This isn't about denying pain or pretending everything is perfect. It's about making a conscious choice about what we choose to highlight in our conversations. The next time you find yourself ready to share another complaint, try pausing for a moment. Ask yourself, is this really the story I want to tell today? Could you balance it with something uplifting, something kind or hopeful? That simple shift, that small moment of self-awareness, can completely change how connected you feel to those around you. It can brighten not just your day, but theirs too. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights meaningful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our future videos filled with helpful and inspiring content. Now, let's move ahead to number 3. Interrupting or dominating conversations. A habit that often goes unnoticed, but can have a big impact. One of the more subtle, yet deeply felt habits that can emerge as we grow older is unintentionally interrupting others or steering conversations toward our own stories more often than we realize. It's not something done out of rudeness or with any bad intentions. In fact, it usually comes from a heartfelt desire to connect, to share the wisdom we've gathered over the years, or simply to relate to what someone else is saying. But here's where it gets tricky. While we're eager to jump in and contribute, those around us, especially younger people, can sometimes begin to feel overshadowed. They may start to hold back their thoughts or slowly stop opening up altogether, simply because they feel there's no longer enough space for their voice in the conversation. And the truth is, most people won't openly tell us this. They won't say, "You're talking too much," or "I wish I could speak." Instead, they just smile politely, nod along, and allow us to take the floor, all while quietly pulling away inside. Little by little, they begin to withdraw, not because they don't care, but because they don't feel heard. At the heart of it all is a universal truth. Every person, no matter their age, wants to feel heard, respected, and valued. When we jump in too quickly or consistently redirect the conversation back to our own experiences, even if it's meant with kindness, we may unintentionally send the message that what others have to say isn't as important. And that's certainly not the message we want to send. It's easy to miss these subtle signals. You might notice a grandchild who stops sharing their funny stories, a friend who grows quieter during your regular coffee chats, or a neighbor who listens but doesn't seem to share much anymore. They're not upset or angry. They're just trying to navigate the conversation, searching for space where they can speak too. In those quiet shifts, we may miss something truly valuable, opportunities to learn from them, to see life through their eyes, and to keep deepening our relationships. We may not even realize how many chances slip away while we're focused on telling our own stories. I'm reminded of my old friend Walter, who was around 83. When this began happening to him, Walter was one of the smartest men I had ever known. He was filled with fascinating stories from his years as a teacher and a respected community leader. His life experiences could fill hours with interesting lessons, and people used to love hearing what he had to say. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. His stories began to dominate every visit, every conversation, turning into another tale from his past. It wasn't that his family stopped loving him, far from it, but slowly, his children and grandchildren began calling less often. They still cared deeply about him, but they felt as though there wasn't room for their voices anymore. Each chat seemed to leave them feeling unheard, like they were just there to listen, not to share. When Walter finally realized what was happening, it hit him hard. It stung, as it would for anyone. But instead of becoming defensive or shutting down, he decided to approach it differently. He began to practice something that takes real humility, the art of listening first. He started asking questions, showing genuine curiosity about others' lives, and letting them share their stories before adding his own. The change was remarkable. His family began seeking him out more often, not only to hear his thoughts, but also because they knew he would truly listen to theirs. Conversations became warmer, more balanced, and filled with laughter and understanding on both sides. This experience is a powerful reminder that every conversation is a two-way street. No matter how much wisdom or experience we've gathered through the years, the simple act of listening is one of the greatest gifts we can offer. It shows others that we respect them, that we value what they have to say, and that we're willing to learn from them too. And here's the beauty of it. When we do speak, our words carry even more meaning. They resonate deeper because they come from a place of patience, balance, and genuine care. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of a conversation, try pausing for just a heartbeat before jumping in. Give the other person the space to finish their thought fully. You might be surprised by how much stronger and more meaningful your connections become. Number 4 is another thing people often notice, though they'll almost never mention it: wearing clothes that look too worn out, mismatched, or neglected. This isn't just about fashion. It speaks to something deeper. This isn't about keeping up with the latest fashion trends or trying to look like someone half your age. Not at all. It's something much deeper and far more meaningful. It's about the small details that quietly send a message to others about how much pride and care you place in how you present yourself to the world. Over the years, it's easy for things like faded shirts, pants with frayed hems, or worn-out shoes to gradually slip into our daily wardrobe. We get comfortable with those old favorites, the clothes that have been with us through countless memories. And without even realizing it, we stop noticing how tired or neglected they might look to others. Of course, people may still greet you warmly. They'll smile and chat politely, but that doesn't mean they don't notice. Often they silently wonder, are you feeling a bit down? Are you going through a difficult time? Or have you simply stopped caring about those outward signs of self-respect? The truth is, our clothing tells a story long before we ever say a word. It speaks volumes about how we see ourselves. When you take the time to wear clean, well-fitting clothes, even if they're simple and modest, it sends a clear signal that you respect yourself and are ready to face the world with dignity. And here's the interesting thing. It doesn't take a fancy wardrobe or expensive outfits to create that effect. It simply takes a little extra attention and care, choosing clothes that are in good condition, that fit well, and that reflect your personal pride can make all the difference. These thoughtful choices are often felt by others, even if they can't quite explain why. I remember a man named Leonard, who was about 75 at the time. He had lived alone for several years after his wife passed away. When she was alive, Leonard always dressed sharply. His outfits were coordinated, neat, and reflected the confidence he carried. But after her passing, things slowly changed. He began to grab whatever was closest: pants that clashed with his shirts, shoes that were scuffed and worn, jackets missing buttons. Eventually, his daughter sat him down for a heart-to-heart conversation. She gently pointed out to Leonard that when he dressed the way he used to, something changed, not just in how others responded to him, but in how he seemed to feel about himself. She told him that he looked happier, more vibrant, and that people around him seemed to brighten up in his presence. Leonard took her words to heart. He didn't rush out to buy an entirely new wardrobe or chase after the latest styles. Instead, he simply took better care of what he already owned. He cleaned his clothes, repaired a few items, and began choosing his outfits with just a little more thought each day. And you know what happened? He later said that it made him feel like a new man. He noticed that people started treating him differently, more warmly, more respectfully. And in turn, he began to carry himself with greater confidence, energy, and joy. This isn't about trying to impress others just for the sake of appearances. It's much more personal than that. It's about honoring yourself. It's about sending a quiet but powerful message to the world that you still care, that you're still engaged with life, and that you're taking pride in who you are. And the amazing part? People pick up on it. They feel that positive energy, often without even realizing it, and they're naturally drawn to it. So the next time you open your closet, pause for a brief moment. Look at what you're about to wear and ask yourself, does this reflect the pride I feel inside? That small, intentional step can have a surprisingly big impact, not only on how others see you, but on how you feel about yourself throughout the day. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already subscribed, I encourage you to do so and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful content designed to inform and inspire. Now, let's move on to number 5, showing impatience in public. This is one of those behaviors that often goes unnoticed by ourselves, but is quickly picked up by others. As we age, it can quietly slip into our interactions without us realizing it. It might be a deep sigh when the line at the store moves too slowly, a sharp comment when a cashier struggles with change, or a grumble when a doctor keeps you waiting longer than expected. Waiting longer than expected in public places can easily trigger frustration. Those moments often feel small and completely justified. After all, everyone experiences impatience now and then. But here's something we often overlook. What people tend to remember isn't the delay itself or the mistake that caused it. What truly sticks with them is how we handle those situations. And this part can be difficult to accept. When we display impatience, especially as we grow older, it can create an uncomfortable tension for others, even when they fully understand why we might be frustrated. They may not mention it out loud. They'll likely stay polite, offering a smile or changing the subject. But deep down, they notice it. That's why this behavior matters more than we realize. The way we carry ourselves during those everyday moments, whether we're calm or irritated, shapes how others see us and, more importantly, how they feel around us. When we choose to remain calm, patient, and kind, even when we're faced with unexpected delays or minor annoyances, we're offering something meaningful. We're demonstrating that wisdom and grace aren't things that fade with age. They can grow even stronger and more inspiring. But the opposite can also happen. When impatience becomes a regular habit, people may start to pull away, though often in subtle ways. They might hesitate to invite you along for errands or avoid planning outings, not because they don't care about you, but because they're quietly worried about how you might react if something doesn't go as planned. It becomes easier for them to avoid uncomfortable situations rather than risk tension. I'm reminded of a man named Raymond, who was about 80 at the time. Raymond had always been known for his cheerful, light-hearted nature. His sense of humor made people feel comfortable and welcome. But after the loss of his wife and some difficult health struggles, he began to lose that easy patience. He started snapping at store clerks, grumbling loudly in waiting rooms, and showing frustration more openly in public places. His daughter, who loved taking him out for lunch or running errands together, slowly started making excuses. It wasn't because she no longer wanted to spend time with him. She loved him dearly. But those tense moments made outings less enjoyable, leaving both of them feeling drained instead of uplifted. When Raymond finally realized what was happening, it became a turning point for him. Raymond decided to make a personal commitment. He set a quiet goal for himself, to take a deep breath, offer a smile, and simply let the little frustrations slide. It wasn't easy at first, but over time, something remarkable began to happen. His outings gradually became enjoyable again, not just for him, but for everyone around him. People started to notice the difference. Strangers smiled back at him. Store clerks became friendlier and more helpful. Most importantly, his daughter once again looked forward to spending time with him. Their outings were no longer filled with tension. Instead, they became something both of them cherished. This simple shift is proof that patience isn't just an old saying or a tired virtue. It's a powerful way of spreading calm and positivity wherever you go. And the best part? It's something anyone can practice, no matter their age or situation. With just a little awareness and effort, we can all choose to approach everyday annoyances with grace. The next time you feel that familiar rush of frustration rising inside, whether you're waiting in a long line or dealing with a slow response, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that, in that instant, you hold the power to choose kindness over irritation. And that simple choice can leave a lasting, uplifting impression on everyone around you. As we near the end of this video, I invite you to take a quiet moment for yourself. Reflect on the 5 habits we've explored today. Which one spoke to you the most? Is there something in your daily life that feels familiar? Something small that you might now want to approach with fresh eyes and a new perspective? Remember, none of these habits define who you are at your core. None of this is about being perfect or overly hard on yourself. We've all been there. Every single one of us, as we grow older, develops certain habits or patterns that quietly sneak into our daily lives without us even noticing. It's just part of being human. The good news is that with just a bit of awareness and intention, we can gently shift those habits. In doing so, we invite more warmth, dignity, and meaningful connection into our lives. Each of the points we've discussed today isn't only about how others perceive you. More importantly, it's about how you see yourself. It's about the way you carry yourself and how you continue to show up in the world as the kind, thoughtful, and confident person you've always been. So I encourage you to take a quiet moment and think about one small step you can take starting today. Maybe it's pausing for a breath before voicing a complaint. Perhaps it's making the choice to listen a little longer before sharing your own story. Or it could be something as simple as picking an outfit that makes you feel proud, polished, and comfortable. These may seem like small choices in the moment, but they add up over time. They help you feel more at ease in your own skin, and they invite others to feel closer to you, creating more meaningful interactions along the way. Which of these habits stood out to you the most? Do you see yourself in any of these examples? Or is there one habit that you feel ready to embrace and improve moving forward? Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We'd truly love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and share one key takeaway from this video and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your stories and reflections matter to us deeply, and reading your comments always inspires and motivates us to keep creating content that speaks to you. If you found this video helpful and enjoyable, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support means so much, and it helps us continue bringing you thoughtful, inspiring content. Wishing you good health, happiness, and peace always, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more.